What's good, guys? Fantasy Joe back here with another fantasy football video. Today I am talking values. These are guys where they're going in the draft. You're just getting a great value on them. They might not have that league winning upside. They may have it depending on where they're going. But that discounted draft price is going to give you an advantage over your league mates. So check out this video for sure. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And if you have any questions or comments, put them in the comment section down below. I'll respond as always. Okay, so let's dive into our first wide receiver value. It's none other than Devonta Smith, currently going as a wide receiver 24 in fantasy drafts. We see this last year, so we can show you some of the guys he's going against. Here we go, 52. I usually get him in around round 5 in drafts. You see the guys going ahead of him: Rashee Rice, Courtland Sutton, DK Metcalf, and then names after him: Zay Flowers, Xavier Worthy. And honestly, besides Rashee Rice with this suspension, although he does have great upside when he plays, I do think some of these guys ahead of him are worthy of their draft price, but it doesn't mean that Devonta Smith's not a great value when you consider some of the players going behind him. So let's dive into the season he had last year. So he only had 13 games, so he missed 4 contests, had 833 yards, 8 touchdowns. And I do want to point out a few things. So let's dive into his stats really last year. So obviously he missed some games, but let's break it down from a per-game standpoint. Finishes as a wide receiver 17, averaging 12.7 points per game and half-point PPR. If we compare that, that's very similar to Rashee Rice, Terry McLaurin, Drake London. Terry McLaurin and Drake London both easily finished as wide receiver 1s last year. So he's right there within striking distance of that range already, missing some contests and those things. But let's look into some other numbers. So last year, the Eagles had the lowest pass attempts in football at 448 attempts. If you compare that to the year previously, they had 563 attempts. So more than 100 pass attempts in difference between those 2 years. Now, I do expect them obviously to want to run the ball with Saquon Barkley, but I don't think they'll be at 448 attempts. I think that number comes back up. Let's say they throw the ball 500 times this year, makes a bigger target pie for Devonta Smith and some of these wide receivers, which obviously would be massive. So I think that's going to be one of the big ways that Devonta Smith can improve. And he already was good last year, and he's going to get more passing volume, a lot of opportunity for them. The Eagles' schedule should be a little harder for them this year. But where you're getting him in drafts, I think he has a really good value. Let's say you target a riskier team, you can snag him. You know you're going to get a wide receiver too, and probably better every single week he is out there. And then let's look at some of his other numbers. If we go back to 2022, just the upside that he is capable of. I still might have it sorted by points per game. Let's sort by total points. Okay, perfect. Oh, did it too much. But I just want to show you what he is truly capable of, because this year we see Devonta Smith, wide receiver 10, and he averaged 12.2 points a game. So it kind of shows you the different ranges. We can look at where he finished in 23 and wide receiver 20. And you're getting him in that wide receiver 24 draft cost. And like I said, I outlined a lot of reasons why I think he could be more productive this upcoming season. Those are all reasons that I would want to have Devonta Smith for fantasy football in 2025. Let's dive into this next player we've got on the list. So this next guy, we're going to scroll even more. These are values. There's a reason they're way down here. Jordan Love. Quarterback 17 right now, but let's look at where he finished 2 years ago. Quarterback 5, and this is his first year as a starter. He finished number 2 in the league in touchdown passes. And then let's talk about some of the things that happened through him this last season, obviously. So last year was not the best year for fantasy football for him. Missed some games. He got hurt in week 1 versus the Eagles with a knee injury. He played through that for a good period of time, but obviously that hindered a lot of his performances. You can see the yardage is down, the touchdowns are down, missed a few contests as well. Didn't run the ball as much as he did the year previous as well, which he's already talked about doing more, and I do think that's an area that's going to go up. He could be a guy with 250, 300 rushing yards and multiple scores on the ground, which obviously increases a lot of that upside for you. And then this last year, obviously, it wasn't a great year for fantasy, but there's a lot of reasons why I expect that to change this upcoming season. Let's see, Jordan Love, 16.3 points per game, which you can see would bring him up to just about that quarterback one range if he was able to suit up for every contest. But here's the thing that I think about Jordan Love. So last year he got hurt in week 1 versus the Eagles, played a knee injury. Then in week 8 he hurt his groin, and from that point on, week 8 forward when they were playing the Jaguars, the pass attempts per game decreased by about 10 for the rest of the season once he hurt his groin. I think a lot of those injuries are the reason that he didn't have the fantasy season we were hoping for last year. And then we go look at what the team did. They had drafted a first-round wide receiver. That's going to make a major boost for him. And they've got a good offensive line. In 15 starts this last year, Jordan Love only took 14 sacks. They drafted a first-round player, offensive lineman last year who didn't play, who should be back this year. They signed a guard for $80 million in the offseason. They drafted a tackle in round 2 of this year. They had a good offensive line last year. They should be even better this year. And they have lots of depth. So you give a quarterback with a good offensive line, upgrade his weapons. He was second in touchdowns 2 years ago, and he wasn't healthy this last season, are all reasons why I think Jordan Love is greatly going to outproduce the quarterback 17. One more player, our honorable mention, I'm going to give you guys for this series. We're going to have to scroll up even. But it's Tucker Kraft, another guy I want to throw out there. He is drafted at tight end 10 right now. But let me just show you some of the stats on why I believe in Tucker Kraft. They're pretty amazing, honestly. And when you watch the film, you can see how talented of a player he is. Kraft. And the Packers have talked about him being one of the players that improves the most and their team works the hardest, things like that. But you see this last year, 70 targets, 50 receptions, 707 yards, 7 touchdowns. Another crazy stat about Tucker Kraft. On only 70 targets, he led tight end position in broken tackles. He had 9 broken tackles. Brock Bowers had well over 100-something targets, and he had 6. So we can see what he can do with the ball in his hands. And compared to a lot of these other guys, it's truly remarkable. And tight ends usually do break out between their year 2 and 3 season. That's usually where we see that big jump. But 153 targets, he broke 6 tackles. We're seeing Tucker Kraft outperform that in half of that volume. Just something to consider when we're talking about him. But I think with Jordan Love being there, talented weapon, showing the team that he's explosive, 14.1 yards per catch. Another player that did that, George Kittle, last year is at 14.2. So he's that type of player. He's extremely athletic. And I really think that he can do a lot for fantasy football this upcoming season. Finished at the tight end 9 this last year. I think he could easily jump into that tight end 4 range, get up above 10.5 points a game pretty easily. And I think a lot of people, Matthew Golden isn't highly drafted. Jaden Reed isn't highly drafted. Tucker Kraft isn't highly drafted. But one of these guys has to be the lead dog for this team. And I think it's worthy of taking a shot in one of those 3 somewhere because I think this is going to be a good passing attack. They had a lot more rushing production last year comparatively to 2 years ago where it was a lot more production through the air. I think those numbers even out a little bit, and that's why I'm invested in these draft prices I can get some of these Packers players at because I think the offense is going to be good. I think Jordan Love is due for a bounce back. As I've mentioned, he's got great weapons, and the weapons are going at a low draft cost. So those are all reasons why I think Tucker Kraft, Jordan Love, and Devonta Smith are values this year in fantasy football. If you find the video helpful, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. If you have any questions or comments, drop them in the comment section down below. Like I said, I respond to every comment, and I love to hear what you guys think. So thank you guys for watching. This has been Fantasy Joe.